That's right, everybody. We're gonna revisit this topic about the quote-unquote rigged matchmaking in Marvel Rivals. For those of you who missed it, I did a very deep dive, highly edited video, but this video is gonna be a little bit more rambly. I'm just gonna talk to you because I keep seeing videos pop up about this topic and I don't think enough people are critically thinking. I think a lot of people are looking at this research paper or they're watching YouTube videos from other people who are not experts in this field. They're not coders, they're not game devs. So I just want to talk about a few things. And if you need all of the information, again, go watch my other video about the rigged matchmaking system. So first, let's talk about the hidden MMR system. I don't think a lot of people are taking into consideration that when we're talking about matchmaking being quote unquote rigged, everybody is talking about ranked matchmaking. They're talking about ranked, but then they're going to this hidden MMR system. I need everybody to just sit back and just think about this for a second, because people are saying, we don't know what our MMR is. It's hidden. The ELO, it's hidden. Well, you need to remember, you have a rank. You have a rank. We have bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, eternity, celestial, grandmaster, one above all. We have all of these ranks. These are visual indications of your rank, of your skill level. So it's not 100% hidden. Don't get me wrong. I don't want anybody misquoting me or taking this out of context. There is a hidden MMR. You have a hidden rating, but there is something visually that we can see. Now, why does this matter? Well, when people are talking about the matchmaking system in Marvel Rivals, they're saying, well, you might get a very low skill player on your team. If you're a very high skilled player and you're on a win streak, you're gonna get a very low skilled player. Well, you guys, let's think about this for a second. Let's pretend that you're in Grandmaster, and please don't give me any dumb arguments. I'll explain what those dumb arguments are in a second. But let's pretend, just for a second, let's imagine that you are Grandmaster. You're Grandmaster 3, 2, 1. You're somewhere in the Grandmaster range. What would it look like if this system gave you a terrible player? Think about that for a second. What would that mean? Are you saying that they're giving you someone who's actually a bronze player? Are they giving you someone who's actually a silver player? That is impossible. The game cannot do that. The game cannot give you somebody who is extremely low skilled. Worst case is that you're like Grandmaster 1 and they're giving you somebody who's like Grandmaster 3. Well, I guess they could be Diamond 1 because it'll give somebody like, you know, within like 3 or 4 divisions of you, unless you're doing some team up stuff with a group, then it gets a little bit different. But I know a lot of people, the dumb arguments people are gonna say is like, well, there's a lot of people who got boosted, there's a lot of people who don't deserve to be there. And this is another psychological effect that we're gonna talk about in a second. By the way, we're gonna dive into some psychology, because those of you who missed my last video, I am a big psychology nerd, human behavior nerd. I read a ton of books about conspiracy theories, human behavior. I used to interview a lot of experts on my old podcast, and there are some explanations for this. I think it's important that people understand why they think the way they do, so they can address these things and start thinking a little bit more logically. But I do want, before we move on to this next section, I do want all of you to sit back real quick and think about that hidden MMR system, because there is only a maximum low skill ranked player that they can actually give you. So what we have to do is say, what are the alternative explanations? What are different explanations for this? And one of them just is that people are having bad games, right? There is somebody who is in Grandmaster who might be having a bad game. There's someone in your Diamond lobby, in your Platinum lobby, who might be having a bad game. And one of the issues is this thing called cognitive dissonance. So those of you who don't know what cognitive dissonance is, this is just the most important topic you need to learn about. It is actually a book I read with my son not too long ago, because I'm like, yo, this is gonna be the most important book that you ever read, because it's gonna explain every single irrational thing that you come across that people do. There's a book out there, it's called Mistakes Were Made, But Not by Me. It is just the best book on cognitive dissonance you will ever read. So what is cognitive dissonance? Cognitive dissonance is the mental discomfort or tension that arises when a person holds 2 or more contradictory beliefs. When 2 contradicting beliefs are in a person's head, they do some crazy things to rationalize it, to make sense of it. So what does that mean in Marvel Rivals. Here's what that means. Let's say you have a belief about yourself. The belief about yourself is, I am a good player. I am a high-skilled player. We saw this in other videos, right? I am a Grandmaster player. I'm a Platinum player. I'm whatever. This is where I should be. Here's the player that I am. So in short, the belief is, I am a good player. So what happens when you lose? Well, when you lose, this other creeping thought starts coming in and says, am I bad? No, I can't be bad. My team is bad. So every other logical explanation just goes completely out the window because the cognitive dissonance is setting in. You can't bring that belief to light that you might be a bad player, so you have to rationalize it. And it's, oh, my team's bad. Well, my team's bad, that must mean that the matchmaking's rigged. That cognitive dissonance is leading to some insane beliefs. And I mentioned this in the video I just did. I just did a video about the best strategist to do solo queue with. I just hit my 5th Lord. Those of you who are wondering, yes, I did hit Lord with Adam Warlock last night at about 2 freaking a.m. But we over-glorify solo queuing, right? And here's the thing, and I don't want to dive into the psychology of all this, right? But I would wager that people who solo queue, they have a very high view of themselves, but also they're not doing as much teamwork as people who play with their friends. So again, going back to, hey, is there a more rational explanation than the game is rigging this and putting you with terrible players? Is it possible, just ask yourself this question, is it possible that when you keep solo queuing to climb the ranks, you are only thinking about yourself? You're not using your mic. You are not using teamwork with your team. You're running around doing whatever you want. So even if you're dropping 40, 50 kills, right, your whole backline is getting just completely demolished because all you're thinking about is the frags. And I think this is a major issue with the people solo queuing and thinking that they're getting screwed somehow, is that they're not using teamwork. I cannot tell you. So I work from home. I have Twitch streams up like most of the day, and I watch streamers and I watch these people like complain about their teams. And I saw a clip the other day on Twitter of this guy, and if you're watching him, like he tweeted this video showing that, oh my God, this is like a Grandmaster lobby and look at this. And he's screaming into his mic like, get the Magneto, get the Magneto, get the Magneto. He's playing Thor and he's just going after this Magneto. Nobody else is shooting this Magneto, right? He's like, get the Magneto, what is my team doing? Get the Magneto, bro. And you would assume that this guy was talking to his team. No, if you look, there is no icon for his mic going off. This means that he was only talking to his chat. So he's screaming at his teammates, but they don't know he's screaming because he's not using his mic. But what I'm getting at is I watch plenty of streamers who are complaining about how bad their team is while not saying a single word to them. I'll let you know right now. And if you've watched my videos at all, you know that I am a big stickler for communication. I don't care if I'm solo queuing or with my friends, I am constantly on my mic. I am communicating, not to toot my own horn, but I do have randoms saying like, that was great communication. You know, like if I'm behind playing like Cloak and Dagger, I'll let them know where I'm putting down my healing bubbles, when I'm gonna ult, you know, all these other things, you know? And it's just like, again, like the cognitive dissonance, like I need people to just sit back and ask what other rational explanations might be plausible. So the next thing I want to talk about is going back to the whole idea that the system is rigged for you to buy skins. And a lot of this came from the Activision patent that they use saying, hey, we adjust matchmaking to make people want to buy skins. And part of this is putting you up against more skilled players to get you to buy skins and all that. I mentioned this in my last video, but I would love to see data on this. You can patent just about anything. If you have the money and you fill out the proper paperwork, you can patent just about anything. I don't know how many of you watched that show, Silicon Valley. I think it was on HBO? Anyways, hilarious show, fantastic show. But there's one storyline in there where there's a guy who's a patent troll, and these people do exist. Basically, they just buy up a bunch of dumb patents, and hopefully somebody will use one of those patents in the future so they could sue the pants off them, right? And just get money. And like these people just make a bunch of money being patent trolls. But anyways, again, first off, we have no evidence that NetEase is using the Activision patent. Remember, this is an Activision patent. So NetEase would have to buy the rights to use it, or they would get sued. So why do people buy skins? Why would you buy skins? Yes, we saw that one YouTuber did buy a skin because he got wrecked by somebody, which is absolutely insane. But there is this old, what did it come from? It came from like the early 1900s, I think. But anyways, there was this economist and sociologist by the name of Thorsten Veblen. And he came up with The Theory of the Leisure Class. It was a book that he wrote. And he came up with the concept of something called conspicuous consumption. So what is conspicuous consumption? If you learn about this, if you get this in your brain, I promise you, you'll be a lot better with your money. So conspicuous consumption refers to the practice of spending money on luxury goods, services, or lifestyles primarily to publicly display wealth, status, or social standing rather than to meet basic needs. So what does this mean? People buy things to show off their wealth, to show, hey, here's my status level. Like, I'll never forget, one time when I was driving through, I think it was like LA, I was in this like really like, I wouldn't say bad neighborhood, but the cars that were in the driveways were much better than the neighborhood that they were in. So what that made me think of is just that these people, they're driving around and they're giving off this view of, look at my money, look at my status, but they spent all that money on their car rather than the place where they live, right? So like, imagine that difference, right? Picking somebody up like in your nice car, and they're like, ooh, you rich, right? And you take them back to your house in a not so great neighborhood, you know what I mean? But this is why people buy certain cars, certain clothes, but this is also what happens in video games. I taught my son this at a very, very, very young age when he started playing Fortnite. He used to want every single skin the second they came out, right? Regardless of whether he liked them or not, he just wanted them. So I started explaining this to him in a very, way that you would explain something to a child. And I had him think about it. I said, why do you want this skin? I need you to ask yourself, do you want this skin because it looks cool or because other people will look at you and say, oh my God, look at this guy who has the brand new skin? And that really clicked for him. So this is something that happens in these games too. A lot of people are buying skins to show, look at me, look how cool I am that I bought this skin. But this theory of the leisure class with conspicuous consumption, it came from very wealthy people who would just buy things that they didn't need. They would spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on a purse, right? Or on a hat or on shoes. This is why like Louis Vuitton has a very prominent logo. You know when you see Gucci. This is showing other people, hey, look how much disposable income I have where I can buy this. So that is an actual explanation for why people buy skins. Now, do some people buy skins because somebody wrecked them and they thought it looked cool? Maybe. I was just talking to a buddy and he said he bought the Storm skin because they lost and he saw the MVP screen. So that is a yes and no, right? Yes, he bought it because he saw the best player on the other team had it, but it wasn't because he got wrecked by them. He saw the MVP screen and he's like, yo, that's a really cool MVP screen. I want that. So just pause and think before you're making these purchases in these games. I'm a huge believer in human agency. I don't like all the stuff going on, this like technology doomerism about like, oh my God, these social media ads, these targeted ads, they're making you buy stuff. They're psychologically manipulating you. Like, you guys, just recognize what's happening and make your own decisions. You don't have to buy everything that you see. Personally, and this is an unpopular opinion, personally, I am a major fan of targeted ads. I love targeted ads. When I was a kid, you had to sit through the dumbest commercials. I remember being a child and seeing like commercials for like insurance, or right? I'm just like, I don't even have a car. I don't have a house. I can't buy any of these things. But now it gives me things that I might actually buy. I don't buy all of it, but it gives me a higher likelihood that I'll find something that I actually like. So the last thing I want to go over real quick, and I thought this video was going to be shorter. Sorry if you're still here. I love you. I'm glad that you like learning about this stuff and thinking a little bit more critically about all these things. Last thing I want to talk about is why people believe in conspiracies, why people think NetEase is out to get them, why they believe that there are just these nefarious characters who just want nothing more than to ruin their lives. First off, there's something called about the myth of pure evil. This is something that was written by, I can't remember the guy's name right now, but anyways, he writes some excellent books. But there's this idea that people are just pure purely evil. And that is like a crazy, crazy, crazy belief. A lot of times people are just rationalizing things. They think that they're doing something good. I think some of the best examples of this are if you watch superhero movies, you see people doing bad things, but they believe they're justified. Great example is Thanos, right? Thanos, in his crazy mind, he thought he was doing something good. He's like, I'm saving the universe by, getting rid of half the people so we don't run out of resources, right? He thought he was doing something good. In his mind, he's the hero. Anyways, getting back to conspiracy theories and the fact that people aren't pure evil. One of the reasons people believe in conspiracy theories is that they have this desire for control and certainty. They don't like believing that everything's completely random. They don't like believing that, hey, maybe I'm just having an off day. They wanna believe that they're in control of their skill. They don't like knowing that there's a hidden MMR system that, you guys, I said this so many times in my last video. MMR, this matchmaking, it's in every freaking game. Every competitive game you play. I don't care what competitive game you play, it's in there. They want to match you against people who are around the same skill level. This other video I just watched, it went really deep into this idea that it tries to keep you around a 50% win rate. And it's like, well, yeah, like, I don't know. Like, if you're constantly playing people who are as good as you, like, if the system is fully optimized, in a good system, you're gonna hover around 50%. That's just the way it is. Because you're going to keep playing people, it's gonna be like a mirror match, right? Imagine playing yourself over and over and over and over again. You're going to win 50% of the time. That is what a matchmaking system does. The next reason people believe in conspiracy theories is the laundry list of cognitive biases. If you don't know what these are, just Google cognitive biases and you'll see like hundreds of them. Hundreds of them. You're gonna be looking for patterns, right? This is one of the biases that we have. You're gonna have confirmation bias. You're gonna disregard evidence that is against what you already believe, and you're gonna find evidence that does agree with you. Another reason people believe in conspiracy theories is because not only the confirmation bias, but they sit in these echo chambers filled with misinformation. When these videos first started popping up, about the matchmaking being rigged, a lot of people just started watching more and more of these videos. I don't know if you've heard about these YouTube pipelines where people start believing really crazy things. It's because YouTube also has an algorithm, because everything digital these days has an algorithm. YouTube is like, hey, this person watched this video in full, and guess what? YouTube and NetEase are doing the same thing. YouTube wants to keep you on the platform as long as possible. YouTube starts feeding you more videos like that. They're like, hey, if this video kept this person on here for 10, 20, 30 minutes, I'm gonna give them more videos like this. For example, my video right here, even though my video is against a lot of the popular conversation around this, I'm going against it, it can feed you videos that are saying the exact opposite and give you the conspiracy theories, because although algorithms are amazing, right? It just sees that I'm talking about matchmaking, so it could send you to a video right after this one about somebody who's just spouting the most insane conspiracy theories that you've ever heard in your life. But another reason people believe in conspiracy theories is this tribalism. Nobody wants to be outside of the tribe. This is part of the way that we evolved. So me, for example, me going against this narrative that matchmaking's rigged, that's not great for me. That's not great because a lot of people are calling me an idiot. And a lot of people are afraid to do that. It's a lot easier to just agree with the popular narrative than it is to go against it, because then you're still part of the tribe. I could easily make a video spouting nonsense, but I'm sorry, I just don't operate like that. I try to think logically and rationally, and something I'm very passionate about is debunking misinformation, or at least getting people to look at things from a new angle. The last thing I will say is, even though we have NetEase paper about OptMatch, we had that talk from GDC, there is still no evidence that it is used in Marvel Rivals ranked matchmaking. Like, I am a stickler for evidence. Something that I have always taught my son is that he should pretty much never, ever say that he is 100% certain about something. Saying you're 100% certain about something, first off, it's just bad practice if you want to be a critical thinker. Even the best scientists in the world don't think in 100% terms. So for you to say, we have evidence that they're using this exact system in Marvel Rivals, you better show me some code. You cannot say, hey, they wrote this paper years ago They did this talk years ago, and this is in fact in Marvel Rivals. Unless you have, like, I want you to think about this. If you took this to court and you were in front of a jury and you were showing a jury, like, would you have enough evidence? Would you have enough evidence to sway a jury? Not just with these ideas and say, well, they wrote this paper a long time ago. If you were getting pressured by another lawyer in that courtroom who said, where is the actual evidence that it's in this? Like, how certain would you be? Do you think you would win that case? Or another great book, one of the first books I read that really taught me some like good critical thinking practices was Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke. She is a poker pro, but she also got like a degree in psychology. But anyways, Thinking in Bets has a lot of great critical thinking skills. But one of the things she brings up is whenever you're going to like do something or make a claim, ask yourself, how much money would you put on that? Like with this Marvel Rivals matchmaking being rigged and stuff, how much money would you be willing to bet? Would you bet $1,000? Like think about the highest amount of money that you have access to. Would you bet $500, $1,000, $10,000? Would you bet your life savings on this fact that it is using this matchmaking system? Like, because if not, you might want to dial down your certainty a little bit. All right, but anyways, I needed to talk about this again. If you watch this, cool, you're amazing. If you like the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you're new, subscribe, ring that notification bell. I'll do videos like this sometimes. I like educating people. I hate conspiracy theories. I hate misinformation. I truly believe that the more people we teach how to critically think, like we will just live in a better world. So even if this video flops too, and I only get like, 10, 20, 30 of you to watch this entire thing, like my mission's done. If you learned something, fantastic. But anyways, subscribe, ring the notification bell. I'll make more videos like this, but I have a lot of videos coming up. Tips, tricks, Marvel Rivals, ranking up, how to actually improve your skill rather than thinking that the whole system's rigged against you. But thanks so much for watching. Have an amazing rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one.